as well. And at 9 a.m. this morning, I'll rock the bank with you. I'm going to pass out a $1,000 keyword. You'll enter that at WYTK.com. You can also find me on your socials, The Stansberry Show. And we got a lot to get to today, including making sure you get into Sonic Temple. That show's right around the corner now, I believe, starting on May 16th. And I've got not pairs of passes for you. I have 4 packs of passes for you, and we'll get those passed out every single day this week. I'll have those. Happy to be doing that, because that show is packed, man. Full of good talent. Thursday night, your headliner, Disturbed. And on Friday, you get the Misfits. Saturday, it's Pantera. That's not Pantera, dudes. Two dudes who used to be in Pantera. And then Sunday night, you get Slipknot. That's not bad. That's not too bad. Mudvayne, Seether, Breaking Benjamin, A Day to Remember, Theory of a Dead Man, Anthrax, Starset, Royal Blood, Good Lord, Judas Priest, Rise Against, 311. All right, that part kind of sucks. All right, I guess go to the bathroom during 311. Mr. Bungle playing now. That's pretty cool. Clutch is playing. They're really good. Baroness, too? Oh, my God. Yeah, man, this show's killer. So I'll have 4 packs of tickets for you every single day this week. What we'll do here is we'll pass these out at 7:45 this week, is we'll get those passed out. We'll move it around this week, give everybody a fair crack at it. But we'll have that first set, and it's not a pair, I'm sorry, it's a 4-pack of Sonic Temple passes. We will do that 7:45 this morning. Let me just mark that down in my little ledger here, because I did not know that information until I got here this morning. Also, 9 a.m. this morning, what is the perfect movie length? How long is it? I have been one of these guys who's been complaining about the length of movies for a while. They've been getting longer and longer, at least it feels like they have. When I was growing up, it felt like an hour and a half. 90 minutes. If you can't get it done in 90 minutes, somebody show you the editing. There were, of course, some movies that were longer than that from back then, but I don't think it was the bulk of them. And I think it depends on the movie. If it's an action movie, Fast and Furious, Avengers, or whatever the hell it is, get it done in 90 minutes. What are we doing here? It doesn't need anything in it. It's not Citizen Kane. Like, literally, it's a music video, for crying out loud. Get it done in 90 minutes. It can be done that fast. You start talking about things like, you know, historical dramas and all of that, and if we're really going to try to storytell and really tell what happened, okay, it's probably going to be a little bit longer. At this point, TV's so good, I think you could just do a mini-series on one of the streaming networks and not necessarily have to do a theatrical release. Okay. But I will make room for things that's like, all right, if we're learning something, then maybe this should be longer. Avatar, 3 hours long? What the hell are we doing? Like, dang, somebody does set aside 3 hours for them to rip off Fern Gully and call it Avatar. Are you in? Are you in? No thanks. I am all the way out. I didn't even see the second Avatar movie because the first one was so piss poor. That movie sucked. I remember tweeting out in the movie theater, one day there will be a director's cut making this piece of trash even longer. And I was right about it. That movie absolutely sucks. So what do people consider to be the perfect movie length? You and I will find out together at 9 o'clock. We will also then pass out that first $1,000 Rock the Bank keyword of the day and week. Scott will be on loan from waitingfornextyear.com. That's how we will start our 8 a.m. hour, as we do per usual on loan. Now, Guards lose yesterday, 3. Well, they scored 3. The Braves had 4. Guards are now 19-9 on the year. So we'll talk to Scott about that. And also the Cavs collapse. Saturday, not the best outing for the Cavaliers. They got absolutely railroaded here. 112-89 they lose to the Magic. So they lost both in Orlando. The now series will shift back to Cleveland. That will happen Tuesday. Tomorrow you will get games. And we'll see what happens. After the first blowout in Orlando, I was like, okay, it happens. The series shifts. You go there. You normally lose 1 on their court. It's kind of how it goes. Kind of goes back and forth. I'm not going to go overboard about the total or the lack of effort. We'll see if they rebound. After that game, they kind of gave Donovan Mitchell a little bit of bulletin board material. He picked his head up and said, oh, really? I didn't know that. And a lot of people, myself included, were like, uh-oh, did they just wake up Donovan Mitchell here just a little bit? Turns out, no, not even a little. I think the effort of the second game is worse than the first. All right, you travel, you go to Orlando, you're up 2-0, you start to take them light. Okay, next thing you know, they kind of sucker punch the Giant in the mouth, wake you up a little bit. Okay, this isn't going to be as easy as we thought. We're going to have to bear down. We're going to have to, work on this a little bit. And then you go into that second game in Orlando and you play like that. I can't wait to talk to Scott today. He follows the NBA a lot closer than I do, so I'm interested to find out. Do we have the right guys on this roster? Is this about playing style that they don't play well together? I'm hearing a lot about Garland and Donovan Mitchell and how they can't coexist. I'm less convinced about it, but I hear about it all of the time. Is that what's going on? Is JB getting out coached? Are we not rotating our players well? What is going on that's leading to losses like this? We'll talk to Scott about that. We'll do that coming up at 8 o'clock. Also, the NFL draft over the weekend. Now, this would normally be topic A for Cleveland and Northeast Ohio, the draft. But it's not right now, because I know we can have a debate about Deshaun Watson, but you do have a quarterback. You do have a running back. You do have an edge rusher. You do have defensive pieces. You do have a head coach. You have a defensive coordinator. We're not looking at this weekend anymore as like, please come and save us. Please, we need a Jesus with an orange helmet. Will you please come save us? It's not necessarily the same thing anymore. You're looking to fill out the roster. According to Sports Illustrated, they rated the Browns draft as a B-. I don't think that's so bad. We'll go pick by pick with Scott. We'll take a look at this. They did pick a wide receiver. A lot of people feel like they reached here a little bit. Kid's a little spindly. So he's supposed to be a little bit of a burner. We'll see. And they need to do this. They need to draft and develop a wide receiver. They have to show us, not they have to, but that organization needs to develop a wide receiver to be able to prove that they can do it. You need to be able to do that. I don't know if Jamari's going to be the kid or not. We'll see. But they do need to bring a kid in, drafted, and develop him from the ground up and turn him into an NFL guy. I would like to see. I don't know if needs necessarily the right word. I would like to see that happen. So we'll talk to Scott about that. Also, the new travel trend that is skyrocketing right now, and absolutely, and I mean nobody should be shocked about it. We will get to that coming up at 7 o'clock this morning. 7:45 this morning, I'll get you hooked up for Sonic Temple. May 16th to the 19th. Right around the corner now. And we'll get you in. I'll have 4 packs of tickets for you all week. Looking forward to that. That's a pretty good show, man. Really good, as a matter of fact. We did have the NFL draft over the weekend. According to Sports Illustrated, the Browns have drafted, their grade is about a B-. Not so bad there. Sports Illustrated does feel like they reached on one of their wide receivers. I don't know how you reach for a guy. I think it was the 5th round, 6th round may have been. I don't know how you're reaching for a guy that late, but okay. But I'll take a B-. That sounds pretty good, right? It doesn't sound so bad. We'll talk to Scott about all of it. We'll do that at 8. Right before the draft, it's what they call silly season. You'll hear about this a lot in a lot of sports. F1 calls it silly season as well towards the end of the year, where a driver's going to go, which team are they going to be with. And before the draft, it's silly season. Like, here come all these stories about these guys, right? Nobody's watched a single game all year, and then all of a sudden we got to draft all these kids. Now we need all the information on these kids we can get our hands on, right? And we overanalyze people. And you're investing a lot of money into these kids. And let's be honest, you take ownership of what they do. They flip a car, it's Raiders wide receiver flips car, right? Like you essentially take ownership over their actions. So teams want to know what they're getting in bed with here. And I don't blame them. I would want to know too. So there is a need for information. And then through that, you will fill that need by, industry insiders, and here's the report, and here's what the tape tells us. If you look at this, and oh my God, he was wearing a bong face mask and smoking it the night before the draft, and here comes all this stuff that happens, right? And so guys either move up the draft board or down it because of said information. They asked one of the more what we'll call a loose cannon GM, Chris Ballard, who is the general manager for the Indianapolis Colts, and people do tend to like him because he's a little bit more just plain spoken, straight shooter, if you will, from the hip, right? Chris Ballard will give it to you. While talking about draft picks moving up and down the board and some of the stories he hears about them, he's upset about how these stories get covered. We have this audio. Let's take a listen to Chris.
I don't know. I mean, I read some of the bullshit that was said on TV. I mean, just the typical, excuse my language, our typical league, unnamed sources, bad interview. That's such bullshit. I mean, it is.
Well, some of those kids gave bad interviews at the draft over the years, right? I mean, I've been honest about this. When the guy that hired me at the first radio station I ever worked at for a promotions intern is applying for, said, you were a terrible interview. Best employee I've ever hired. Terrible interview. So people interview poorly. It does happen.
It's bullshit. Put your name on it. I'm tired of.
I wish you wouldn't have said this. Because this gasses up people who don't understand how reporting works. Unnamed sources is how reporting gets done. And anybody who pushes back on that today in the year of 2024, I think is insane. You can't in the same breath tell me you can't say anything anymore. Everybody's so PC. Oh my God, can't even have my opinion. Oh my God, the moment you say anything, you're in trouble. Oh my God, everybody freaks out. And then say to people, put your name next to something. Telling everybody how you can't say anything anymore, how you don't get to have an opinion. Cancel you over every last thing you say. Everybody drags you for being a little outside the box with your opinion, and you expect people to put their names next to things more? I'm shocked by that.
We tear these young men down. These are 21, 22 young men.
Is it the same thing? Is evaluating and tearing down, are those the same thing? I think I have definitely seen instances of both over the years with the draft. I don't know if it's the bulk of players were tore down. By the way, people went out of their way to tear down Caleb Williams. The pink phone case. Oh my God, the lip gloss. Did you see the nails? He's gonna bust, man. And then next thing you know, he goes number one. Now he might still bust. We'll see. But does the tearing of the down of the kid do anything if people think the kid is a stud? The answer is no. They tried to tear down Caleb Williams as much as they could. Nothing stuck. The Bears don't care. Here he comes, drafted number 1 overall. I got to be honest with you. I didn't like him the night of the draft. On the phone, the way he handled the phone call, the what he said, I didn't think it came off all that great. We'll see what happens once he puts the Bears uniform on. I'm rooting for the kid. I'm not rooting for him to fail. I'm an NFL fan. And so when the quarterbacks are good, the games are better. When the game is better, I'm having more fun while I'm trying to, avoid my life and have fun watching football. Give me good quarterbacks. I'm not rooting on the kid to fail. I want him to succeed. But they tried to tear that kid down, and it did absolutely nothing for him.
And if people out there can tell me they're perfect in their lives, it's crap. It's crap. This is a good kid. And, for those reports to come out, I said it last year. It's bullshit. I'm sorry. I apologize for the language. I don't, but I do.
So I counted. It's 6 expletives in 47 seconds. That seems like a lot, right? I don't know what he's all animated about. Unnamed sources are part of reporting. People aren't going to tell you the honest-to-God reality when they have to tell you what their name is. Now, I know what people who don't like reporting just heard me say. Well, then doesn't that make it easier for people to make things up? Yes, that's what editors were for. That's what their job is. Hey, I'm the reporter.